Hey everybody, Jonathan Clark here at Last Chance Archery, and I've got a new how to do it video for you today. This one's going to be a little different. I'm not only going to show you how to do it, but I'm also going to introduce a brand new Last Chance Archery product, and that new product is called the Mathews Finger Set. So the Mathews Finger Set will be a finger set of 4 that's used for Mathews and Mission compound bows specific. These are approved by Mathews, but designed by Last Chance, and of course they're approved by us. But I'm going to show you why these are beneficial, some of their top features, and how to use them. In addition, I'm going to show you how to press the brand new Mathews Lift bow, which is the 2024 Mathews mainline hunting bow. This is a nice new bow, but I'm going to show you specifically how to press this bow, why it's a little bit different, and why this new Mathews Finger Set is so beneficial. Stick with us, let's get to it. Alright, so now I'm going to show you some of the features of the new Mathews Finger Set. We'll get started here. So when you open your box, you should have 4 of the new Mathews fingers. They should already be assembled, and you should be good to go ahead and install these on your bow press. But each finger should have the black custom Mathews finger tip. It should have the base of the finger, as we call it, which is made out of aluminum, and it should have a thumb screw already installed. So you should have 4 of these. And each of these fingers, the black custom fingertip, 2 will be offset from the other 2, and I'll show you why that's needed when we move over to the bow press and we start pressing a bow. But to begin with, I just wanted to show you these fingers. I want to show you a couple of these features. So the finger itself, the base, the aluminum part, is 3/4 of an inch wide compared to our standard fingers, which are only 1/2 of an inch wide. And then the custom fingertip is a full 1 inch wide piece, custom for the new Title and the new mainline hunting bows. As you know, the base of those bows has gotten really wide, and each limb is really wide as well. So by going wider with the finger and wider with the fingertip, when you go to press those bows, the fingertip is actually going to fully spread across the width of the limb, so that the smaller standard LCA finger, which is only a 1/2 inch wide, if you're using it, you have the potential of putting the finger off to one side or the other of the limb, and the finger itself could cause the limb to torque. Whereas with the Mathews Finger Set, you've got the full 1 inch wide fingertip, so it spreads the width of the limb, so you're not torquing the limb when you press it. And it's the same for the 3/4 of an inch wide aluminum base. It's just giving it more support, more width to give it stability, and to keep it from, moving in or out when you go to press these new wide limb Mathews bows for 2024. So now we're going to jump over to the bow press. I'll show you how to install these fingers on the bow press. I'll show you how to put a bow in them, and then I'm going to show you the difference between pressing a Mission bow, a Mathews bow with each of the different style limb caps. So there's been 3 different styles: the originals, the limb caps on the Phase 4s, and now the limb caps on the Title and the new Lift Mathews bows. Before we hop over to the bow press, I wanted to go over what we mean when we say Mathews limb caps. So the Mathews limb caps are the small pieces at the limb tip of every Mathews bow. Over the last, I guess, 6 or 7 years, that's an estimate, but those small adapters, or limb caps as they are called, are small pieces with little half moons cut out, and what they're for is for a bow press finger. And the bow press fingers, the tips of them go right into those limb caps, and that allows you to press those bows more safely than just if you were enclosing the limb tips. Because when you put those tips in those limb caps, the limbs themselves are fully engaged in the bow press, so that no matter what angle you're pressing at, you're always able to keep those limbs or limb tips engaged with the fingers. So you've got a couple of different models here. I've got the Phase 4. I've also got a Mission bow, so I'll show you what we actually call the Mission Cradle on the new Mathews fingers for Mission bows. I've got the new Mathews Lift, and then I've also got a VXR, which has the original limb caps. The next one in line would be the Phase 4. The Phase 4 has Delrin limb caps that were a little more sleek in their design. The Mathews finger will fit perfect with that limb cap. And then you've got the new lift, and you've also got the title bows on the tournament side. These new limb caps are a lot thinner, and the new Mathews Finger Set will work perfect with these. So you've got 3 different styles. You've got the older, you've got the Phase 4 style, and then you've got the new style, which is on the lift and the title bows. The Mathews fingers are going to work just fine with every one of these limb cap styles. Then finally, as I mentioned, you've got the Mission bows, and what we call the Mission Cradle is underneath the actual tip of the finger. And you would use this very similarly to how you would use the standard LCA finger. So where it curls around, some Mission bows have limb caps, but if they do not have a limb cap, the Mission bow, you would press it inside this portion that we call the Mission Cradle, and it goes right over the edge of the limb just like that. So you'll do everything else identically to our standard fingers. You'll make sure the adjustment of the fingers forward and back matches the limbs. You'll make sure in and out that everything matches, and then you'll be good to go. All right, so now we're over at the bow press. I've got standard last chance fingers already installed so that I can show you how they're removed and how you put the new Mathews Finger Set on. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the standard fingers. You do that just by pulling those off of the pins. I've already got 3-inch machined aluminum blocks on this press, so this would be the 3-inch block kit. If you don't already have it, you will need that for the Mathews title, the tournament bows, because of the width of the limbs and the base on that bow. You've got to have the wider kit to press the title from Mathews. So now what you're going to want to do is take your Mathews fingers, and you will have 4 fingers. 2 of them will be offset one direction, 2 will be offset the other direction. And you're going to want to take the finger with the offset as far as the offset of the black 1-inch wide fingertip. The larger portion of that 1-inch wide fingertip always goes to the outside. What that does is it gives you a flat inside surface so that the fingers can still go all the way as close together as the standard LCA fingers. So I've got the flat side of this finger. I'm going to put it on the outside of the press and slide it in. I've got the flat side of this finger. It's going in. I got my flat edge of this finger. It's going to go on the outside. Now I go ahead and I add some pressure using the thumb screws and even up both of the fingers. That way they're leaned in just a little bit, because with the new Mathews lift, it is far enough beyond parallel that you want the fingers leaned in just a little bit so that you get plenty of clearance. So I go ahead and I add some pressure, so I'll move those thumb screws just until they engage. I'll even everything up. And now the fingers are installed and you're ready to press these different Mathews bows with the different limb caps. So in the next segment, I'll show you how that's done, how to press using these new fingers now that they're installed. All right, so now that the Mathews Finger Set is installed, you've got everything ready to go with your bow press, you're good to go to press these new bows. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to press the Mathews lift and show you how the finger goes into the limb cap, and then I'm going to show you how to press a Mission bow, because that's 2 totally different ends of the spectrum. You've got one of the compound bows from Mathews that has a limb cap. You've got one of the Mission bows, which is also from Mathews, that does not have the limb cap. So I'm going to show you how to press both of those different bows. And you may ask, what about the others? You've got the VXR, which has the older style limb cap, and all the limb caps are the same. You take the tip of the finger and you put the tip of the finger in the little half moon cutout. It's the exact same no matter which style limb cap you've got. This limb cap, in short, just looks a little bit different than the limb cap on the Phase 4. So the Phase 4 was the next step up, and the limb cap looks just a little bit different, but you'll do the same thing. You're going to take the tip of the finger, you're going to put it inside the limb cap, and you can press this bow. You can press it just enough to take the strings or cables off, or you can press it enough, take the strings or cables off, take it apart, and reassemble it. And the tips of the Mathews Finger Set, the custom-made tips, are going to stay engaged no matter what angle you go to, so that you can take these bows fully apart and put them back together again. So I'm going to show you on the lift. I'm going to go ahead and get it pressed for you. So this is the newest style limb cap. It's wider and it's a little bit more shallow. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how to press this bow inside your last chance press with the Mathews Finger Set. Now I know I'm going to need some width here. The base on the lift is pretty wide. So I'll go ahead and get the fingers as close as I can visually. I always start on the end opposite of your motor or your hand wheel. I kind of get everything as close as I can visually to get it set up. So I need to let some extension out on the press, and then I'm going to start bringing it back. And the way that this works best is you keep pressure on the bow, pushing that direction. You've already taken care of this end. Now I'm going to focus on this end, and as long as you keep pressure, that end's set, it's ready to go. Especially if you have a press with a wheel on it, you want to be down here so that you can, move the wheel and get the press going in or out. So you get that side done. Now I'm going to get this side set, and you'll take it just enough until pressure starts, and then you're going to tighten these thumb screws down. And you make sure that your width is set good, and they are. And then you're good to go. You can go ahead and press this bow. And that's all there is to it. You're ready to press this bow. You can take the strings or cables off. You can take the bow fully apart. You can put it back together again. It doesn't matter. The limb caps allow you to press these bows using the tips of the custom-made Mathews Finger Set. It allows you to press these bows safely. It keeps the limb cap fully engaged in the finger through the entire pressing process. So I've got this bow pressed. I've kept pressure on it just to make sure, the strings or cables do not come off and they stay in place. But now I can take the pressure off, and I'll show you how easy it is to go to a different one. So I just give myself enough room to get the bow out. And I'll go to the phase 4, which has a totally different type of limb cap. I know I need to bring the fingers in a little bit. This bow was not quite as wide. Just like that. I'll go ahead and press this bow. Again, I'm going to tighten the thumb screws as soon as pressure starts. And just a reminder, I kept pressure on that end. Then I worried about this end. It just makes it a little bit easier, especially for those guys that have hand wheels on this end or hand cranks. It makes it just a little bit easier. It's that simple. You can press the bow, you can take the strings or cables off, you can take it apart, you can fully disassemble it, you can rebuild it. And the angles by which these tips on these fingers are, it allows the limb or the limb cap enough movement so that you can take the bows fully apart and put them back together again safely. So I'm going to go ahead and let the pressure off. The last bow we'll do is the VXR. And it has the older, larger, the original style limb caps, but it's no different. You take the tips of these fingers, you put it right inside that half moon, make sure your fingers are even, and you're good. So I'm going to do the exact same thing. Make sure my width is good. This bow's a little bit shorter, so we'll have to bring the press in. That's one good thing about a power press. When you're going from a longer bow to a shorter bow, it's just a little bit quicker than if you were having to move it with a hand wheel. But I've got just a little bit of pressure. I'm going to even these fingers off. And you're good to go. You can go ahead and press this bow. You can take it apart. You can just change strings or cables. You can do whatever it is you need to do. And this finger cap is going to stay fully engaged or fully enclosed in the fingertip. Now, let's show you how to do a mission bow. So the mission bow is just slightly different because this particular mission bow does not have limb caps. Some of the mission bows do have limb caps, some do not. So what you're going to use in this case is what we call the Mission Cradle. So these fingers underneath the custom tip, you've got what we refer to as the Mission Cradle. So you're going to use it very similar to how you would use a standard curved LCA finger. You'll take the limbs and you'll take that cradle and put it right around the outside of the limb, just like so. So I'm going to put this finger back on. Get everything set. I'm going to put these as close together as they'll go because this mission bow is going to need a pretty narrow base to be able to press it. And it's way shorter. So I got to come in, But you see what I've done? I've got all my pressure pushing this way. This end's good to go. So now I can come down here and just focus on this end. I'm going to tighten the thumb screws, just like so. The cradle has got the limbs fully engaged. You can press this bow as well. So you're able to press any and all Mathews and Mission bows. Once again, this is Mathews recommended. This is LCA recommended for all Mathews and Mission compound bows only. And it works great. It's very easy. They're very simple to use. The wide base of the fingers gives you much more stability, as the title and the lift have a really wide base and they have really wide limbs. You really need that stability to keep from applying extra or additional torque to those limbs. So this is the Mathews Finger Set. That's how you install it. That's how you use it. It's very straightforward. It's very simple. And that is all there is to it. All right, everybody, that's it. You've now unboxed, you've set up, and you're using the Mathews Finger Set. Or you need to get one. You can do that through our website, lastchancearchery.com. There you can also find more how to do it videos, our authorized distributors, and all of our products. Check it out today. And if you have any comments, questions, or concerns, please reach out to us. You can email us, you can call us, message us through our website, or you can message us through Facebook or Instagram. If you use a Last Chance bow press and you shoot Mathews or Mission bows, the Mathews Finger Set really will help your tuning process and make it easier. Thank you again for joining us. Have a great day.